Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Overstreet Guide. Okay, so this is not really a video if you're looking to see what the next hot comic book is or anything, what books you should be looking out for. This video is not for you, although I will have videos like that coming out pretty soon. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Overstreet Price Guide. It's around this time of year where it comes out. And that's not the only reason why I wanted to talk about it. It's just coincidence. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it is because of Heritage. And we all know what Heritage is, right? The Heritage auctions. Recently, I won something off the Heritage auction. And a lot of you, I know, watch those auctions. And sometimes you just watch because they can be entertaining to see these books constantly go up and to prices that we never thought they would. And some of you like to buy from them. And I know there's a lot of talk about Heritage and their buyer's premium and all those other things that kind of deters people from going to Heritage, but you know, whatever, that's not really the topic for this video. It's the topic of this video is Overstreet. Now, the reason why I bring up Heritage is because, like I said, I recently won something off of Heritage, and occasionally I'll participate in a Heritage auction. But Overstreet factors in this conversation because many times when you, if not many times, all the time, when you want to enter an auction on Heritage, it tells you what the Overstreet price value is. Okay, so for instance, let's say you're looking to get like an X-Men 282, first cameo appearance of Bishop, all right? It's like a 9.8 or a 9.6. Well, they'll have a 9.6 and 9.8 Overstreet price value from the latest Overstreet guide. And it's so amazing how well, how could I say this? I mean, I know this conversation may bother some people that love the Overstreet guide, but just hear me out for a little bit. But the point I'm trying to make is the prices, when you're going on one of these auctions where they show you what the Overstreet prices are in a couple of grades, including the one that's up for auction, there is such a difference in price to where the Overstreet guide is just so obsolete by today's standards. It's crazy. And I know people say, well, it's because today the prices are crazy and all that. But I think, and that's true to some extent, but I think that the Overstreet Price Guide, the price guide portion of that massive book that comes out, what is it, every summer, around the summertime, end of summer, middle of summer, whenever it is. I think one of the big thing is that it's just so out of date with the modern way of pricing out books, with the modern way being of numerous sites that show updated values of books, including Heritage, right, eBay, and GPA, and so many others that are escaping my mind, and things and others that I don't even know about that maybe some of you know about that maybe you could leave in the comments. It's just so out of date. I was watching some of these auctions, and I'm looking, it says like Overstreet value $70 for 2020, and I'm watching, and it's not just one, okay? It's not just an isolated one. Well, that's just that one. This is just an example of 9 times out of 10. Whenever you see, well, at least what I witnessed in these the 2 days of auction last week, Sunday and Monday. This is beginning of July, middle of July, their auction. Then you see something that's like $70. You know, the grade of the book that is up for auction, according to the Overstreet guide, $70, and then they'll go over what the next high grade is, the price value. So you see the value, $70 and maybe $150, whatever. And you're watching the book and you're seeing $150, $300, $450, $550, and you're like, wow. And that's just not an extreme example. You know, it's the example for quite a few that I watched, and I would imagine quite a few that's been going on with Heritage for a while. Just how out of date the Overstreet Price Guide is. Now, I know some of you, like I said earlier, love the Overstreet Guide. You like opening it up and reading the reports and reading the articles that were submitted by the Overstreet advisors and all of those things. And I like that too. I mean, I think that's pretty cool to hear what Dan Gallo is saying, and Gary Dolgoff and other people, because they've been around forever, and some of these sellers have pretty good stuff, and you may buy from some of them. So it's interesting to read what they put in the Overstreet Guide, but unfortunately, the way things have been going over the last 10 years, longer, the price guide portion of that, which is the whole thing practically, has really been just so out of date. I think people just buy it because they're in the tradition of buying it. There's some people that must defend the Overstreet and all that stuff. That's just ridiculous. For instance, if you had that book that I was just talking about, whatever it is, it's worth $70 in the Overstreet, and you wanted to sell it, but it's going for $300-400. Are you going to sell it for $70 because Overstreet said it was? No, of course not. You're going to keep up with latest trends. So, for people like, I must defend it, don't give me that. It's just the fact of the matter is, yes, I get that some people love the Overstreet. I like it too for the reasons I said. I like reading some of the articles from some of these people. Maybe you don't, but I do. I enjoy that, and I enjoy seeing what the top modern books are, the top Silver Age books are. I like seeing lists and those type of numbers and all that. I enjoy seeing that. But for the rest, when you're looking at the price guide, why bother? Why bother? Because I would say for a lot of the big books. Now, does that mean that Overstreet is obsolete for every single comic book? Probably not, because it's like almost every comic book is in that. So that it's probably not the story for every single comic book. But I think for a lot of the major ones that all of us are chasing, you're looking for an X-Men one, you're looking for a Hulk 181, you're looking for a Ghost Rider one like I am, it's really out of date. You have to the sellers are not going to go by Overstreet as they will for maybe GPA, eBay sales, and Heritage. But it's just something that I've noticed that maybe some of you've noticed while watching a Heritage auction or any auction where you know what the Overstreet price is, and you just see that price what people are bidding on so high above what Overstreet was last year. And all that. And I know there'll be some arguments. Well, last year maybe the market wasn't this crazy, and that may be true in some cases, but I don't think it's true in most cases. I think Overstreet over the last probably the last 5, 6, 7, maybe decade, all these years has been slowly, at least the price guide portion, has been slowly becoming more and more obsolete. But it's a tradition, I know, for some people that love to open that up and look at the prices or look at anything else in that book. I remember when I first started collecting, I didn't know about Overstreet when I first started collecting, but man, I would have loved to have known about it. And it would have been back in the early 90s all the way up to probably the early 2000s. I think and a little after. I think that book, from the time it started coming out in 1970 all the way into that time, the early 2000s, it was probably, the Bible for a lot of us comic book collectors when it comes to prices, when it comes to trends, when it comes to all these different things. But it's just seeing it as I was participating in this Heritage auction, I'm like, wow. I've always known that Overstreet over the last few years at least has been kind of out of date, but just seeing how out of date it was is, kind of discouraging. Kind of discouraging seeing that, the average 2020 price for a book is just so out of league of what it's actually going for now. But I don't know. What are your thoughts about it? Again, the idea of this video was just to talk about some of these. It was obviously to talk about the Overstreet, but it wasn't meant to offend anybody that loves Overstreet. Like with all things, we have to change with the times, and sometimes these things require us to look at other avenues when it comes to pricing out our books. The old way of looking at things when it comes to the Wizard Guide from the 90s and Overstreet on how to price these books may be going the way of the dodo bird. Whether there are crazy prices or not, I think a lot of those big books, and I've said this in other videos, a lot of those big books, although they may come down a little, they're not going to go back down to what they were, even when the market or whatever that is starts to correct itself. I just don't see that happening. Maybe for some books, yeah, but not for the big ones. If you're looking to get one of those big ones and you're trying to go into auction, whether it's eBay or Heritage or Comic Connect, wherever, I think those days where the Overstreet price for those books is pretty much done. But in some cases, maybe not, but unfortunately, I think that's quite rare. So let me know, what do you think? Have any of you been buying things? Like to buy things off of Heritage? Did you win anything in a recent auction? What do you think about the Overstreet? I've told you how I felt about it, some of the things that I don't like about it and some of the things I do. Be interested in hearing what you have to say. Well, thank you for watching, and take care.